Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 7 from CS2. This week, I have a couple announcements. As a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and describe a couple of them. The very first one is there is a quiz on Tuesday, which is, if you're watching this, it's already is happening right now, right? So the quiz it was announced last week. So just pay attention on the submitting times. I've been receiving a couple emails that you've been telling me that the systems kick you out. Yeah, and it's not really that they kick you out. It's if you don't submit your work by 11:59 p.m., the system will block, right? Will actually close the submission time. Now that happens when you have direct Blackboard assignments. So what I did here, just to give you more freedom when you submit, I give you a link it's embedded in Blackboard that is a quiz part of a Google part. It's a Google component, right? So that case, in case you're in 11:59 and you're still working on that, Blackboard will close the window to submission, but you're still gonna be working inside of the quiz. So that gives you a little bit more flexibility. Now, I received a couple emails saying that it never gets submitted and things like that, and I can see who did what in the system, right? They have a timestamp, which means that it tells me who actually submitted and at what time they get submitted and who submitted. Remember, there's only one submission per student. So then if you're having trouble on submission, I recommend to budget your time during that day. So I opened the quiz at 12, I'm sorry, yeah, 12 a.m., right? So very, very early, right? Or very late yesterday, if you want to see it that way. So it's been already open for right now for a couple hours, right? For 12 hours almost. So I recommend to budget your time. It's 20, I give you almost 24, I give you 24 hours, okay? So it's a lot of time. Now, I try to change it. For example, this quiz will be on Tuesday. Last time I think it was on Monday. I try to alternate it because I know some of you work. I know some of you are probably taking other classes. So I like to give you this opportunity to budget your time through the entire week. So please pay attention on that. Unfortunately, I cannot take makeup tests or makeup quizzes. I just want to let you know that thing because most of the office hours that I provide, basically we discuss those problems. Okay, so budget your time in case you're stuck or you cannot make a test. Just let me know so I can make a proper arrangements for those aspects. The second thing is that the peer leaders now they have activities they're available, right? For you for extra credit. Remember that the peer leaders will be there for you if you attend 7 times. I believe so. There's 7 points, right? One per each time that you go there and attend to those sessions. So, but there, additional to that, there is certain practices, certain problems that the peer leaders provide you in order to enhance your skills. Those activities were designed under my supervision, but designed by the peer leaders. So they're very good, different exercises for you to practice. And if you solve them, then I will give you extra credit for that. I was discussing with a couple of your classmates before the class begins. And talking about extra credit, remember that early registration, I'm sorry, early voting starts next week. So in case you cannot vote by mail, and I understand that, there's multiple locations when you can go and exercise your vote right. Yeah, so pay attention. I always recommend, especially right now, because all this whole situation that we're living in, it's important to budget your time and try to vote early, right? That's very, very important. I mean, you always have November the 3rd to vote, but I recommend to use this early registration as soon as possible. So take advantage of that. Another thing that I was going to tell you is about the iBooks. There's another activity there that is being there for the next chapter, which is going to be list, which I already post most of those videos in Blackboard. So pay attention on those deadlines. Some of you have sent me also email. Remember that zyBooks has an account, has a deadline there, right? Which I synchronize also with the deadline on Blackboard. But even if you kind of you didn't go through the entire Blackboard channel, you can still access your zyBooks. You have that membership, right? So you can still access that. So excuse me. So I just want to let you know that that is available there for you. Again, has a deadline. Once the deadline expires, you cannot submit your assignment. I think you can still work on that, but you will not get any grade for that. So please pay attention, budget your time. I know you have a lot of homework and a lot of activities right there. So that's why I usually give 2 weeks for every assignment. And also, I will give some other sessions later on about certain aspects in CS2. So I heard that some of you need extra help. So I will be giving some extra office hours, maybe this time probably late afternoon. So I want to cover also the students who are working in the morning, and hopefully if I have enough students, then I can make a session on the after 5, maybe like that. Excuse me. So another thing that I was going to tell you, next week, the week on October the 12th, I have to move this office hours because there's an event that will conflict in the mornings. So in only that week, so don't worry. I'm gonna move it maybe like 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours after this session. So probably I'm looking more like around after 1 p.m. So in case you're trying to meet next week, the week of October the 12th, there will not be virtual office hours at this time. I just want to let you know that. So only for that week. So for the remaining weeks, I will keep it at the same time. Excuse me. Let me just take a sip real quick of my coffee. I apologize for that. So another thing that I have in as an announcement that I need to tell you this ASAP, right? Spring 2021 registration starts tomorrow, Wednesday the 7th. So it's very important, guys, that you register as soon as possible, right? And let me tell you why, because these classes, the computer science classes, are very popular. Yes, I must admit, and they get full very quick, very quick. So I was checking this morning. My name is there for a couple of my classes. I will be teaching CS3. I'm only teaching one session on CS3. So it's very important that you guys, in case you're interested to take the class next semester, to register as soon as possible. Hopefully, I would like to see you as my student. But if you want to take it with another instructor, that is fine. But the most important thing is that you need to register as soon as possible. Let me tell you why. The courses that I'm this teaching, we give 1 or 2, we give 2 weeks for only EPCC students. After 2 weeks, it's open to everyone. UTEP students, people from NMSU. There's different students right now who are taking these courses across the country because the whole situation that we're living in, because these courses are going to be online, then that opens a lot of opportunities for many people. So be aware of that situation, because once they get close, it gets close. We cannot offer another course with those specifications, and the reason is because we're online, the numbers change and the faculty change. So there's only just groups on that. Usually when we're face to face, we always recommend the students to register as soon as possible because there's a seat there, right, in the lab. If you don't have a lab, in a computer lab, you cannot work on the assignments. But this time it's a little bit more different because it's more different because the idea here, because it's online, there's only certain numbers of classes that they will be open. It's not like as many courses that we usually have. There are fewer courses. They're limited more in the space, yeah, because there's a cap of students that we can take. So it's very important to you to register tomorrow or this week, right, by preference, because in the past, within the 24 hours of registration, of early registration, the classes get closed like that. It has happened in the past. So I'm telling this to my students because I always want to keep this consistency trajectory, right? This follow up of my students. I have students who took CS1 with me. They're taking CS2 with me. I would like to see you in CS3. Yeah, I like to see that whole transition, and try to make it. Now, some of you are contemplating to retake this course, yeah, for various reasons. Maybe you like this class a lot. Maybe you want to reiterate a couple of the concepts from this class, and that is okay. Yeah, I don't know what's your stage. I've been trying to answer emails every hour, every 2 hours, right? A couple of you have told me that you're a little bit falling behind about certain things because your work. I know it's tough. You're not the only one. I receive a lot of emails that your work is being tough. You're taking other classes, other personal situations, family situations, medical situations. I understand. Don't worry. Okay. So, in case you want to, I guess, save your spot for CS2, I mean, it's okay if you just want to reiterate again. We don't know even if you pass it. It's if you want to do that thing, try to register because once they get close, it get close. I don't encourage you to retake it, right? But if you feel, because that's the only way. Usually, when I'm with my students face to face, I can tell right away when something is not completely clear, right? And here I can also know because I have met with you virtually. Yeah, well, I have seen your homeworks, I have seen your assignments, your tests, your quizzes, and I can actually sometimes I send you an email saying, you know what, you're missing this, this, and that. Try to work on this, this, and that. But if you feel I don't know what's happening in your life, only you know, right? So in case you want to consider to just retake this course just to reiterate a couple things, which you will have my support. Try also to save your spot tomorrow for that part. And it's very important, guys, because this, as I mentioned in the past, these courses they get full super quick, and I noticed that some people struggle towards the end. I know towards the end of the semester, many students they decide to change their minds or they couldn't register completely and they some spots get open, but there's some semesters that didn't happen. Okay, just be aware of that situation. Other than that, I think that it's all for the announcements. I'm gonna go ahead and discuss a couple of things. I was discussing with a classmate of yours right now before this recording. I was gonna just uh, I received this email a lot, right? What is this IEEE professor assignment? It's not an assignment. This is the report that you're gonna write after you perform a lot of your experiments, right? Now, let me just remind you about what is this assignment about. The assignment is that you need to program those 5 algorithms that we discussed in class, in the videos, right? Bubble sort, selection, insertion, merge, and quick. Those 5 algorithms, I think 4 of them, they're in your book. You can just copy and paste them if you want. Merge sort is not in your book, not because it's not important, it's because the publisher didn't want to support that part. But in reality, the merge sort is the one that Java uses as a default sorting algorithm. So you can find that in a cyclopedia or even in Wikipedia, you can find merge sort, right? The 6th algorithm, I ask you to do a little research, yeah, a little research about which one is your favorite and why you picked that one. If you watch the video, I went through a video that is that visualize 15 different sorting algorithms, and those they show you different performance, different behavior, different complexity, and you can pick one of those, right? One of those 15. Well, one of those, I guess, 10 remaining who are there, right? Because 5 of them we already discussed them. So you will have to implement them in Java, right? You just write a method. So this is the question. The question is, you're gonna read a file called words.txt, right? There's a lot of words there. Excuse me. So there's a lot of words there. So how are you gonna do that? You're gonna use scanner. Yeah, or you can use other mechanism like buffer reader if you want to, or some other mechanisms to read. All of who were my students, we learn how to read files by using scanners. It's very easy, simple, right? So what you're gonna do, you're gonna read the file line by line. You're gonna count how many lines, how many words you have there. Once you receive that number is very important because that number represents the capacity of your array. So the array that you're gonna hold there is an array of strings. Yeah. So you're gonna create, I don't know how many words are there, maybe there's a couple thousands there. And then once you have that thing, you have to reread the file. Notice what I'm saying. You're gonna have to reread the file. Why rereading, professor? The very first time you read is to count how many words you have. You need a counter. And once you have that, you need to create your array. That is the whole purpose of the very first iteration. The second time you read it is because you're gonna read word by word. And every time you read the word, you're gonna put it into the array at position I. So for every word you put it, array, the very first one is gonna be position 0. The second one, position 1. The third one, position 2, and so on. All the way to you fill out that array. Now, this is where the fun starts. Once you populate your array, you need to perform a series of experiments. Yeah, what are these experiments, professor? The experiments are that you need to you need to sort that. I think there's a couple of tasks there. The first one is that you need to sort them. You need to sort you need to perform all the 5 or the 6 algorithms to sort them with that data. Notice that the data that you have at this point is unsorted. Yeah, it's just you just read it directly from there, from the file. So you need to be consistent the way you write your experiments. Notice in the rubric there is one aspect that's about your testing strategy. You cannot go and order an array with bubble sort and then use the same array already ordered to use selection, and then I mean it's already in order. This has to be the same array and order. What does that mean, professor? That we need to make a duplication of that array? Pretty much. You need to make 6 different copies, right? But all of them, the copies are exactly the same copy. You should not mention the 6 different. You need to make 6 exact copies of the same array. Why exact copies? Because each array is going to go through each method, and you need each method represents the sorting algorithm. So you will have to do that thing. All after you compute the elapsed time that takes, then you will have a time. Yeah. Now here's where the fun starts is that if you just try once, it's okay, but remember that when you make experimentation in the computer, that result may vary. Yeah, so it really depends on you how many times you sort the same algorithm again and again and again in order to have a consistent answer. After you get that thing, that's it. I think you have to find like 3 or 4 targets there, then you can count that as well as the performance. When you're done, you need to write a report in this format, the IEEE, right? Is the Institute for Electronics and Engineering, right? So that is the IEEE, what it stands for. What the heck is the IEEE? Is the professional format about how you're gonna write your reports, your publications, your journals. Okay, once you go to UTEP or MSU or other different institution, you're going to be asked to write your reports. This is the format. Well, this is one of the formats. It's another thing called ACM format, right? But IEEE is well known in the scientific, engineering, and professional community. So this is the one that you need to have in order to basically write your reports, write your narratives, and things like that. Now you can see right here a couple of things. So you don't have to follow every strictly thing. So here is when you put your assignment name, your name, maybe some affiliation that you have, the problem. This is called the abstract, right? But here, notice that this titles is basically what I'm going to grade on the lab, right? If you see the other pages from the lab, I actually mentioned the aspects that I want you to get, the sections that I want you to cover. So here's introduction, what is the problem you're trying to solve? What kind of, I mean, this is procedure for paper submission. You don't need that thing, but you have background, you have experiments and things like that. So here's when you're allowed to basically write your code, your program report, right? So everything that you have learned, if you have some tables here or graphs, just put it here that represent each of those graphs that perform each of those algorithms. I like to see that thing. If you notice, is one of the points that I'm asking for to the representation. And then you have the conclusion and then the references. References are very important. It's all the work that you cite and everything that you have worked in the past, it has to be put it there, right? Here is some images, some tables, things like that. Something that helps you to recognize this is a professional work. I pay a lot of attention in these items, guys, and it's important because this is one of the ways I can actually articulate your skills of writing skills. And one of the things that we meet with a lot of people every year they're called advisory boards, right? And every semester, every year, they tell us like, you have great programmers, you have great software engineers, great testers, congratulations. But they need to write, right? They need to learn how to write reports, how to do morning briefings and things like that. This is my attempt for helping you to enhance your skills, your writing skills. Now, if you go to the writing center, I usually give credit for that. If you go to the writings, they will give you a stamp face to face, right? Every time you go there, they stamp and they give you feedback. I recommend to do it. I think there is an online tutoring on writing. Try to use those resources. They're very important right now. They're helping a lot of students. So that is one of the things that I want to see. One of the questions is, how do you make this larger font? I don't know. This is part of the format, but if you can start, depending on how you want to start your assignment, your report, you can put here different, for example, different letters, right? I don't know. You just type here everything that you want. So you can leave it like that. I'm not picky on that. If you just want to make it look nicer, that's fine also. And you can remove a lot of different things there. I gave you the Word document. There's another one from LaTeX, but I don't want to go there. If you know LaTeX, you're welcome to do this. It looks even nicer. That's about this lab that we have there. So the next lab will require for you to work with linked lists, and it's a very simple program that you will have to, in other words, you will have to practice your linked list skills per se. And these skills basically will help you out to identify elements like, for example, the add, the remove, add in the middle, some variations of adding, counting, or finding the size. Those are the ones that it will take place in this next lab. So pay attention. I'm gonna post it after the class. So please expect the next lab around later on today. So I usually give you 2 weeks for this assignment, and it will require some kind of programming. Most of that programming is in your book. Yeah, I must confess on that, but try to work on your own and based on what you learn in books, try to do it. Worst comes to worst is in your book. Okay, there's a couple methods that are a little bit more creative that I want to explore a little bit more. That's that. And if you have any questions, just let me know. I will be happy to just answer. Again, I'm planning to give more sessions, maybe later on, maybe late afternoon. And if that is okay with you, just let me know. And what time is it? I remember that at the very beginning of the semester, I sent a survey, a form that basically tells you what is the best available time. The best available time for this class was 11 a.m. on Tuesdays. Yeah, I mean, some of you come here constantly. Some of you stop attending, then come back. That's fine. I know some of you work. You have sent me email, Professor, I cannot make it in the morning sessions because I work. I understand. So that's why I'm trying to give more flexible times at the afternoon. Just remember that this is not my only class that I have. I have other students. I usually answer emails all day about my students. I meet with them, yeah, and I have met with a couple of you during this semester via online. And I don't mind, but sometimes you just need, I'm gonna ask you to please be a little bit patient because sometimes you say, Professor, I can from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. I also can, right? Sometimes I have meet with you guys, but sometimes it's a little bit tough, right, to meet at very night. So I'm working with some peer leaders, trying to expand those hours. Remember that those are also students, right? So it's challenging. So but that's fine. I mean, I don't mind. I'm here for you guys. But also sometimes you're asking me to meet like after 10 p.m. and which is sometimes I usually awake, but sometimes it's a little bit late, and I have I usually use that for grading and other stuff. So try to make it in different times. Weekends, I also meet with you guys on weekends, yeah. But also sometimes on Sundays I try to keep it just for other things. So please be considerate on that aspect. Okay, so in case you have any questions, just let me know and I'll be happy to answer that. Okay, so in the meanwhile, take care and happy coding.